Most of the times, you can just look at a team and tell this team will never win it all, and they'll probably never even come close. And with that being said, with those specific teams, my theory is, why waste time and have years of mediocrity when you can just blow the whole damn thing up and start fresh and possibly have a real future? In this video, I'm looking at teams that maybe shouldn't blow their whole team up. Maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but they should probably move on from a key player so they can have a real chance. Now, before I get into all that, if you're new to the channel and this your first video, man, happy new year. I'm praying for prosperity and success for everybody in the new year. But before you get into all that success and all that, make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn on post notifications. And if you like the video, man, that's all I ask, man. I appreciate that. It helps the channel. And without further ado, let's get into these teams. Ever since Dwight Howard left the Magic, they've been pretty irrelevant and they've been completely out of the mix of things. Yeah, they made the playoffs last year and they even stunned the champs in that first game, but they haven't really been able to sustain any type of success. And the player I truly believe they should move on from, and they better do it before his stock drops way below concrete, is Aaron Gordon. With Aaron Gordon, I think we all appreciate his God-given gifts. He's athletic as hell, he can jump out the gym, two-time dunk champion, all that stuff. But these last 2 seasons, his career has really been going south. I mean, he can't really stretch the floor that well, he's kind of one-dimensional, and I just don't think he's a really good fit. In 2017, he averaged a career-high 17 points. Last year, he dropped a little bit to 16, and this year, he's as low as 13 on terrible shooting splits, especially for a big. With the Magic already having Nikola Vucevic and drafting Mo Bamba, who really isn't doing much so far either, I don't really see the reason in keeping an underperforming name like Aaron Gordon. He's not really doing much for your team. If I'm the Orlando Magic, I try to build around Markelle Fultz, Jonathan Isaac, Nikola, and possibly another shot creator for Aaron Gordon. I wouldn't just keep him because he's somewhat of a big name. The Minnesota Timberwolves, to me, they have arguably 2 of the best pure talents in the league with Wiggins and Towns, but they arguably are the most underperforming duo as well. I honestly think Jimmy Butler coming to that team and kind of spilling the beans of how that culture is, that kind of made them look a little bit worse. Even with all that talent, Wiggins and Cat, they both have a reputation of being a little bit soft and lacking real passion to get better, and it definitely shows at key times. Last year, Minnesota finished 10 games below 500. This year, they're on pace to finish 20 games below 500. And Karl Anthony Towns, he's been all in this trade rumors talks with him going to Boston, Golden State, all these teams. And to me, it's going to be hard to find any star that's happy in Minnesota. Like every star, they all leave because it's Minnesota. I mean, it's Minnesota. And it's not like it's a real winning culture there. It's not like it's a real winning tradition like Boston. So how many times can you visit the Mall of America and be happy? Most stars, they're going to leave. The Portland Trailblazers, they literally started their New Year's off by losing to the New York Knicks and giving them their 10th win. I've honestly always been a big supporter of that Dame CJ duo. Like a lot of people a long time ago said break it up, blow it up, it's never going to win. But me personally, I've always had the belief that they were just one superstar away from possibly winning an NBA championship. I always had that faith. But I'm gonna be honest, I lost all that faith last year in the playoffs. After beating OKC in beautiful fashion, hitting the game winner against Russell Westbrook, all that stuff, it was beautiful. Then going to Denver and battling them in 7 games, beating them in Denver, that was beautiful. They go on to play a KD-less Golden State Warriors team, and they were up 17 plus in games 2, 3, and 4. They were up by at least 17 in games 2, 3, and 4, and they got swept. They got swept. I completely understand that Golden State team, they were good with KD and they were damn good without him. They won a championship without him. But you cannot be up by 17 plus in 3 out of the 4 games and not win 1. That's ridiculous. And following up with this year, speaking of 17, they started their first 17 games 5-12. I mean, they just came out flat as hell. And now they're currently on a 5-game losing streak and they're 14-21. And get this team has played 14 games against teams above 500. They've won one of them. They're 1-13 against good teams. Like, this team, it's just not working out. I hate to say blow it up because I know Dame and CJ, they're very close. They want to be in Portland. They want to bring Portland that championship and all that. But if they're never going to win, Portland has to think about their future. Last year, the 76ers ended their season with this famous moment, followed by this second famous moment. A lot of people had the optimism that they'll be a lot better and they will improve and get better from this situation. I mean, to me, this was the perfect year. Ben Simmons got paid, Tobias Harris got paid, all their players are locked up. Ben Simmons would improve and start shooting shots. Kawhi Leonard's out the East, LeBron's out the East. Like, it's pretty much wide open, but so far I'm not seeing none of that. And although they haven't fell completely off the map, I truly believe this team is a little bit worse than last year. This team is one loss away from being the 6th spot. With all that talent, all those names, all that stuff, they're one loss away from being the 6th spot. That's pretty bad. And if the playoffs ended today, they'll be the 5th seed facing Toronto again. And are you 100% sure that they can beat Toronto? Because I am definitely not. I just think that whole big with Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Al Horford, that big trio, it just doesn't work in today's NBA. It just doesn't. I saw a very interesting tweet by MDJ, I believe, where they were kind of asking if you put Ben Simmons in a Giannis situation where he's surrounded with like a plethora of shooters and not so many bigs, how would that work out? Could he possibly have a Giannis type MVP season if he had complementary players around him? And he probably would be a lot better in a more fit system for him. So for Philly, I know they want to be the modern day Magic and Kareem and all that, but one, those guys aren't Magic and Kareem, and two, it's not the 80s, man. You got to break that up. Ever since San Antonio lost Kawhi Leonard, it almost feels like that dynasty came to a very sudden end. Like, it's no more of that San Antonio DNA. Like, it's no toughness, it's none of that championship medal, because really it's no one there anymore, so they just lost it. Now, when you look at them, they're like surrounded by players like DeMar DeRozan, who he's a good player, but he's never felt like a San Antonio Spur. Greg's system has always really been around ball movement and taking at least some threes. Their best player shoots less than 1 3 a game, and he's terrible at it. It just doesn't look right. This season, DeMar DeRozan is shooting less than 28% from deep, and last year he shot 15%. So it's like this whole team just doesn't blend well to me. If I were them, I would just try to build fresh like the Clippers did when they lost CP3, Blake, and DeAndre, or even like OKC looks right now, where you can tell their future is very bright. So that's what I would do, because this team right now is not really winning anything. And lastly, the Detroit Pistons. This team to me is literally built like a team for the 90s or maybe even the early 2000s. Their best 2 players are 2 bigs who really don't shoot that well. Now, maybe I should give Blake a little bit of credit because he has got better dribbling the ball and shooting a little bit, but arguably their best player, Blake Griffin, he's never even healthy. Blake Griffin this year has played 18 games and his production has dropped through the roof. This man is only averaging 15 points on awful shooting splits. It's like, I don't even know what happened to him. I hate to say this about a player, but he's so unhealthy. He just really doesn't belong on a contender. He's so unreliable. He's going to hold your team hostage every year. So with that big duo not really working out in today's era, and Blake Griffin is never healthy, and Derrick Rose being kind of past his prime, I don't really see why you keep that team together when they don't really have any foreseeable bright future. If I'm the Pistons, I try to move Blake Griffin ASAP. I don't know who would take on that contract knowing his history and all that, but you have to move him ASAP before his stock drops lower than low, because right now it's not really looking good. These are all the teams I feel like they have to move on from a guy or two. I was thinking about the Wizards, but I really like Thomas, Bryant, Bradley Beal, and their young players. I can't really talk about John Wall right now because he's not healthy and he's going through a lot of personal stuff, so I didn't want to touch on him too much. But these are the teams that I feel like they have to move on from a guy. But that's the video, guys. If you guys like the video, make sure you guys like the video. Once again, happy 2020. Make sure you guys turn on notifications, like the video, and subscribe. Make sure you turn on notifications, man, because my next video, I promise you, my next video, I have a banger in mind. Make sure you guys turn on the notifications and like the video and all that stuff for that one, because I'm very excited for that. If you guys like the video, follow my social media sites. Happy 2020. Be great. Do all that great stuff. And until next time, whew, I feel like Busta Rhymes, man. Stay tuned.